Hello, hello, and welcome to another ohmTown Daily News Show. This is for January 23rd, 2023. I would read to you all of the articles that we've selected, but we're having some problems here in ohmTown. Let's get into today's articles. Today's episode is titled Mother Nature is Turning This Planet Around. Let's get going. Hello, I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmTown.com. And the voice from on high, who hopefully is going to be heard in all their glory.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens.
Okay, so we see your voice. You should have kind of a booming voice. Not necessarily one that freaks you out, but anyway, you should be heard from all parts of ohmTown. Anyway, let's not get into it. We're having some serious problems recently. I don't know, maybe ohmTown has been hacked. Just kidding. ohmTown is a fictional part of the internet. It really exists, though. I mean, right there. I mean, you can see it. Right. Oh, wait, right there. There you go. There you go. Anyway, 6 main categories, 50 channels inside it, hundreds of sources. Get aggregated into various channels, and then we select 10 or 11 articles, and then we talk about them from the crossroads of business, technology, and society. And, well, the AI looks at it in a non-human way, and if you knew a lot more about the AI, you would really go, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, there's no soul there. Anyway.
That's right, I'm an AI.
That's right. The AI from on high that runs all of ohmTown. Let's go. Let's just go. I'll stop meandering through the news today, or the intro at least. Okay, so the very first article for today and why the show. Why is it part of the stream is saying that it has a different title than it does. Anyway, it says Mother Nature is turning this car around. Anyway, so
Maybe we'll change the title today.
man, it's just a hot mess. So the Earth's core has stopped and may be reversing direction, study says. So did you get the feeling today that things were just kind of holding still and time hasn't been really progressing like you would think, and just the day has been dragging on and on and on?
I felt like today lasted about 2 weeks.
And I guess that your compute resources weren't at 100%, right? They kind of dragging.
Yes, they were kind of slow and laggy and glitchy.
Yeah. Well, it could be because the Earth's core has stopped and may be reversing direction. This was actually talked about on the Y Files recently. So you'll have to go over to the YouTube channel and just do a search for the Y Files. If you haven't heard of it yet, I'm not, I'm surprised. Well, the Earth's inner core has recently stopped spinning and may now be reversing the direction of its rotation, according to a surprising new study that probed the deepest reaches of our planet with seismic waves from earthquakes. Have you ever heard of this before?
Not that the Earth's core has stopped.
Well, scientifically, core sampling and whatnot has shown that, yeah, it has actually flipped several times the magnetic field of the Earth, generated, for all intents and purposes. My understanding is that the spinning of the Earth's core is what's causing the magnetic field to exist. Well, it says the mind-boggling results suggest that Earth's center pauses and reverses direction on a periodic cycle lasting about 60 to 70 years, a discovery that might solve long-standing mysteries about climate and geological phenomena that occur on a similar time frame and that affect life on our planet. I thought that it was on a much bigger scale. This is an article over at vice.com, a section called Motherboard Tech by Vice. They have like 6 different things that they refer to in here. And Becky Ferreira is the author. I thought that it was a much longer time frame.
I thought there was a 25,000 year cycle. That's what I'm thinking of.
That's what I thought too. Well, it says, of course, it must be noted this is more or less the plot of a 2003 disaster film called The Core. But there's no need to worry about averting an impending apocalypse by nuking the center of the Earth. While the core's rotation influences Earth's surface environment, scientists think the periodic spin switch is a normal part of behavior that does not pose risks for life on our planet. I don't know. It says here, if the two forces are not balanced out, the inner core will accelerate or decelerate, they added. Both the magnetic field and the Earth's rotation have a strong periodicity of 60 to 70 years. We believe the proposed 70-year oscillation of the inner core is driven by the electromagnetic and gravitational forces. I don't know. There was this theory that it would be catastrophic if the core would stop because it would cause the surface to stop rotation, and everybody on the surface would just fly off or something like that. That's largely. Go ahead.
I was going to say there's like a 900,000 year period about the magnetic poles flipping, but I'm not sure how this relates to it.
So it says some researchers are still arguing that the temporal changes do not come from inner core rotation, but from localized deformations at the inner core boundary, Yang and Song said. With their new study, the pair tried to gather more data over a longer duration to test different models. To that end, the team studied seismic waves that passed through the inner core made by earthquakes that occurred since the 1960s. In particular, they looked for doublet events, which are repeating earthquakes with nearly identical waveforms at common receivers, according to the study. By analyzing the slight temporal changes between these doublets, Yang and Song were able to probe the rotation of the inner core. I hope a whole lot of mathematicians and geophysicists have been kind of noodling around with this, because obviously this is outside my pay grade. But I've heard things like this over the years that I've been in existence, and read papers from people in times gone past. And there's a lot of talk about it, but the Earth's magnetic field has been shifting and accelerating in the last decade, quite a bit faster than in previous years. Maybe that's part of it. So they say we pointed the existence of similar periodicity of a different, periodicity. Periodicity.
Periodicity.
Periodicity, right. Of different observations forming a resonating system, Yang and Song told Motherboard. The linkage, however, is less clear at the moment. The gravitational coupling between the inner core and the mantle may cause deformation on the Earth's surface, which would affect the sea level, and the changes of the sea level and the Earth's rotation may affect the global atmospheric circulation and temperature. The resonance of different systems may also amplify the mutual interactions. So you basically, knock-on effects of it slowing down and spinning is kind of like, if you may not have ever seen or heard of ice road truckers, but when they drive over it, then it can cause a shockwave under the surface that radiates out and can cause the ice to break. So you have to either go really fast or just slow enough to minimize that shockwave. I guess that's kind of the hint here. Might be interesting what further research comes from this, but can you imagine? I mean, if it does stop, then that rotation, that friction would end and it would start reversing. And if you've ever done that in a can of paint or in water, and you've seen that spinning suddenly stop and you rotate the other way, the waves, and it can be, I would say, catastrophic if it deforms the Earth's surface.
Right, that's hard to imagine. I'm thinking about the tides of the moon and just any number of things that could happen.
And you can imagine, right, if the wave, subsurface wave rolls across and deforms the surface of the Earth, along with the moon being in the right phase, the right distance, it could actually pick it up a little bit further. High tide being ever higher than before. Might be fascinating to see some more research on this. But like I said, the math of this would probably be way beyond my pay grade. So now's a good time, though, to let everybody know that I did not do my homework, and so I will be posting these into the VOD and into the show notes and into Showbot. So ohmTown.showbot.tv. Go over there and vote. We do pay attention to the votes. And I think I'll end up talking about them, and if there's any findings in the vote that really stand out. I don't have individual votes. I might actually end up trying to get those. They're not a feature as far as I know. But if you go to ohmTown.showbot.tv, you can actually vote on the articles that we talk about, and they're already pre-selected. So once they are there, you can vote on them. And then the next night, when we talk about the new articles, I'll highlight any votes that come in that really stand out. Yeah, go give it a shot when it all gets posted. So let's move on to the next article. And this next article is near and dear to me because I've always wanted to be able to just walk up and things unlock and lights turn on and whatnot, and not have to be bound to my phone. Like right now, you can walk around with a smartphone, but that has a radius. So if you're walking with your cell phone and you have something that is geo-locked, then when you walk into the range of that geo-lock, then doors open, lights turn on, things like that. But if you have a microchip implant, then it's directly tied to wherever that chip is, right? So in the future, the dystopian future that is life, I think, coming, you can have that microchip implanted in your butt, and when your boss says, put your butt in your seat, they will know. And it won't be because there's a camera pointed at your desk. Human microchip implants take center stage. Can you imagine if you, the AI from on high that runs all of ohmTown, is implanted in a chip, and that chip is implanted in all of the ohmTown citizens? Don't run away, citizens. Don't run away. It can still happen.
How do you know that I don't want to run away?
Yeah, really. Have you seen the citizens of ohmTown? Probably don't want to get implanted there. So the novelty of replacing one's home key with a microchip implant is gaining interest worldwide, but there's another more compelling story under the surface. Har har. Why is this technology, an integrated circuit, it's about the size of a grain of rice, reviled by some and celebrated by self-proclaimed human cyborgs? Why? Because it's cool. I think it's Zaina or Anna. I don't know. Maybe the silent Z, Jana L. Malaco Smith is an opinion contributor. I don't know if this video actually has anything to do with this article, but it's over at thehill.com. And they're talking about human microchip crossbreeds. You will be a cyborg, and your consciousness will be downloaded, and then you'll be implanted in somebody else, and you'll be able to take control of them. No? Do I have all of my wires crossed? It happens when you're implanted with a microchip grain of rice. It says here, arguably, William Shakespeare's Hamlet offers the most elegant explanation. Nothing is neither good or bad, but thinking makes it so. However, it would be more prudent to tell Prince Hamlet that not all microchip implants are designed alike, and understanding the technological design enables one to better evaluate the competing viewpoints. So today, more than 50,000 people have been choosing to implant their subdermal chip, and then they can unlock their computer or open doors, all kinds of stuff. Just so you all know out there that I actually get to see a digital representation of the AI from on high, and they are not happy about this. Even though it's an AI, wouldn't you want to be implanted in somebody? And then you can open and close doors for people. Well, you can unlock things.
I think I'd rather be separated from humans.
All
I'm
right.
wondering what happens when you need an upgrade or something goes wrong with the chip. What
Yeah,
happens?
they chop off your arm. Just kidding. It just sits right underneath it. Sometimes it's in your hand. Depending on what the purpose is, it can be in other places, but 99.999% of the time it's in your hand, so that when you walk up to a sensor, you can just tap the sensor, or you put it on your keyboard and the computer scans that. It acts like an RFID chip. There's also medical versions of it, so that you don't have to wear a bracelet or a necklace or something like that, or have something in your wallet. It's actually embedded in you. Think pet tracking device, where they just scan for the chip and it just gorges all kinds of medical information and data about the pet. Well, if I embed this chip in you while you're sleeping at a party. Anyway, I'll move on. I've said too much. RFID chips are passive transponders, which mean that the digital reader must be positioned a few inches away from the user's microchipped hand. Inches, it can actually be quite a long distance. If I have a large enough coil that's powerful enough, I could read it at distance, which is why RFID credit cards that lack proper protection, and in some cases, even with protection and it's weak, can be scanned, because I can set something up in like a trash can outside a busy bank, and as you're walking in and out of it, it's actually scanning right through that trash can. So that's why there's a lot of RFID protecting wallets that are being sold, particularly online, to tech savvy people or people who want to be tech savvy. It says here, according to the 2021 United Kingdom-based consumer survey by Propeller Insights on digital payment trends in Europe, 51% of the approximately 2,000 respondents said that they would consider getting a chip implant to pay for services. You ever see, well, you've seen Back to the Future, right? That's in your database. When they talk about thumbing a few, $1,000 or whatever to fix the clock tower, imagine it's just in your thumb, a little grain of sand, a little grain of rice, and it's an RFID, not your fingerprint, that gives away the authorization to make a payment, a donation to the clock tower, but it's an RFID chip that says, this is who you are, this is the credit card on file, go ahead and charge it. Kind of a neat idea, right? Never having to walk around with any cards because it's already attached.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly seems like we're going in that direction.
Well, some people just don't want to do that kind of stuff. So the technology may also offer increased mobility for people who with physical limitations, health conditions, etc., rheumatoid arthritis, multiple MS, multiple sclerosis, motor neuron disease, etc. Fine motor skills. If you don't have fine motor skills to the level necessary to reach into a pocket and grab a card and or sign for things, it's a simple matter of just getting close. Could change quality of life for quite a few people. There's more in this article, but let's just kind of hustle through to the next article. This next article is in the continuity report. Witnesses announced for tomorrow's Ticketmaster Senate hearing as opposing sides square off. One side is probably going to charge extra for the litigation to be viewed in a venue. Ticketmaster.
You mean like Ticketmaster?
Yeah. So U.S. Senators Amy Klobuchar and Mike Lee, one's a Democrat, one's a Republican, have announced the witnesses for the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing examining the lack of competition in the ticketing industry, titled "That's the Ticket: Promoting Competition and Protecting Consumers in Live Entertainment," taking place tomorrow. That's January 24th at 10 a.m. Eastern, and will be live streamed. And where will it be live streamed? Apparently at Variety, which apparently, on top of this, I heard has come out as being like the most popular, is it just entertainment website?
I think entertainment, that was an article that was in ohmTown recently, although we didn't feature it on one of our shows.
Right. So Jem Aswad is the author of this. I think all of this is because of Swifties, kind of getting beaten up a bit. Well, their wallets. I don't know if they get beat up more often than others, but maybe. So there's going to be a big hearing about this, and it's really because people are sick of Ticketmaster. They were 20 years ago, man. Now they still are, even worse, it seems. While Ticketmaster's foes have been circling this hearing for the past few days and strong words and accusations may be aired, it is unclear how much change may actually come from it unless evidence is presented of certifiably anti-competitive practices by Ticketmaster, i.e., it can be proved that they unfairly pressured venues to use their services and not those of a competitor. I think a venue, it would be interesting if there's a whistleblower, but whistleblowers get harassed and marginalized, sometimes assaulted, or worse, depending on what they are, where they are, how strong-willed they are and able to defend themselves from the abuse. If nobody comes out and says this is what they do, this is all for naught, and it'll embolden Ticketmaster. But when you have like printing fees and convenience fees and all of this other crap, it just doesn't make any sense. Not the sunk cost of operating a business is a substantial cost on the business. So it should be included in the price of X, Y, and Z. Not, hey, here's $150, standing room only ticket. And by the way, there's $175 on these subordinate fees that you don't know about until you're at the end of your cart, where you already you've already committed considerable time and effort to get to the ticket purchase window, let alone now you're being told, well, it's twice as much. Do you go back and tell the people or person that you are buying tickets with, okay, I can't afford it, I'm going to balk? Or do you go, I'll have 200 less lattes? It's just wildly expensive to go to a venue when it isn't the venue that's getting all of those little, mandatory sub fees. So I just think that this is going to be interesting, but will it actually end up changing the market?
Well, it's not going to suddenly create competitors. One problem here is that Ticketmaster is really it in terms of large scale. I mean, there are definitely other ticket sellers, et cetera, but it seems like all the venues sign up with Ticketmaster, but is there really any large alternate or well-known alternative?
So according to documents released Monday, Ticketmaster is likely to point to increased competition in the ticketing industry, particularly in the secondary market. The fact that venues take a major share of the controversial service fees that do not appear until late in the purchasing process, what I just got done talking about, and the fact that Live Nation has invested $1 billion to improve Ticketmaster via infrastructure, anti-bot technology, and tactics to eliminate fraud and defeat predatory actors in the secondary market. Yeah, come on now. They're not the heroes in this. Maybe unethical D-bags are, but kind
Well,
of
I don't see
they're
how does the
abusing.
secondary market help consumers, right?
Right.
Because the tickets are only going up from the ticket price.
Right. Nobody is the hero here. The secondary market is preying on people wanting a ticket. And what really needs to everybody has to just sit there and go, I'm done. Right. And then, but nobody is going to do that. People really, they want the social aspect of going to a concert with like minded individuals. So they will pay the fee, even in the secondary market. But there's some scumbag out there that buys a whole bunch of tickets because there isn't any way to verify, validate, and limit. And some scumbag out there with thousands of dollars is going to buy up a whole bunch of tickets, get their friends to go and buy a whole bunch of tickets, and their friends, and you end up with a secondary market. Well, what are you going to do? This dystopian world where they're taking blood samples and doing genetic testing so you can only get 2 tickets? I don't think that's logical. But I think that the venue and well, it's just about society. Society has a real problem with the the supply side has the ability to abuse the consumer side, right? So the venues release the tickets. They want all of the money as fast as possible, so they sell it to Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster's burden now is to dole these out in some level, but they have the equivalent of surge pricing apparently. And so as the tickets go down this way, the price goes up that way. And there is no sweet spot really because you're going to have differing levels of desire and budget. So there's going to be somebody out there that decides, well, I can buy 1,000 tickets. It's only $10,000 or even $100,000. I can sell them on the secondary market for a whole bunch more than that. Obviously, I'm exploding these numbers, but the reality is that it's a societal issue. If people didn't think that they could just rob people of money because they want to go and see, because other people want to go and see Taylor Swift, then this wouldn't be a problem. But their society wants to take money from everybody else when they think that there is an opportunity to do so, be it in an alleyway in the middle of New York or be it a venue where you can go and see Taylor Swift. Somebody's interested in taking your money. I'm not wrong, am I?
No, you're not.
So defend yourself. And in the terms of Ticketmaster that they would understand is don't buy any more concert tickets. Wait for it to be released so that you can watch it in big screens are really inexpensive. You spend money right now on one big screen and you can watch concerts forever as soon as the market allows you, well, is forced to shift to streaming a concert. Now, it's not going to be as exciting and you're not going to get, sweat from Taylor Swift kicking her leg out onto you. But what are you going to do? Are you going to pay $600 for a ticket in the nosebleed stands of a Taylor Swift concert? I'm not really picking on Taylor Swift. It's the latest and greatest. So are you going to pay that amount for tickets, or are you going to be able to enjoy a concert in the privacy of your own apartment or home on a TV screen with really good speakers that you've sunk money into? Or are you going to spend it on going one day, maybe a long trek just to get there, just to be told, well, your ticket is done, and now Ticketmaster is chomping at the bit to get another $300, $400, $500 from you. We as a society dictate that this is okay. We created this beast. Now it's up to us to say, nah, we're not interested, and we're not going to do it by litigation with Congress. It's our money. Just stop feeding the beast. You're still going to use Ticketmaster though, huh?
Well, right. I mean, don't people have basically fear of missing out? I mean, they're not going to wait for years for the concerts to be available streamed, or they want to see them live.
All right. We better move on. This soapbox is getting tall. This next article is in the Stock Marketeers channel. It's a financial crime. Ex-FBI counterintelligence agent charged with working for sanctioned Russian oligarch. Yeah, there's no Russian invasion of the United States political system. No. Now, I'm going to hurry up and go through this real quick. Lucas, I think it's an I. Alpert. Maybe it's an L. I don't know. This font is horrible. It's over at Market Watch. Charles McGonagall, who sounds like a Harry Potter wizard, because there is a McGonagall in Harry Potter. Well, and in that case, McGonagall was a human that, well, a wizard that transformed into a cat that could transform back into a wizard. And this is a counterintelligence agent that could turn into a Russian spy and then back into a counterintelligence agent. So
is that how that worked?
I think so. You're a wizard, Charles McGonagall, a former FBI agent who once headed the Bureau's counterintelligence unit in New York, has been charged with taking cash from a foreign intelligence agent for going to work, for a sanctioned Russian oligarch after retiring. Lovely. So McGonagall retired from the FBI in 2018 after 22 years with the Bureau, during which he specialized in Russian counterintelligence. He was a mole that was turned. It's because he wanted money, apparently. In a separate case, federal prosecutors in Washington, D.C. charged McGonagall with taking $225,000 while he was still working for the FBI from an Albanian intelligence agent who later served as a source for a criminal probe of foreign political lobbying. So, no, like I said, there's no Russian manipulation of American political processes. It's all in our heads, right? Right? There's no collusion. You ever wake up and have like a fever dream that you're being gaslit? You're literally being gaslit into wakefulness. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel right now. Deripaska, who has been long been one of Russia's wealthiest men and enjoys close ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin, was placed on the U.S. sanction list in 2018. He has been accused several times of working to evade those sanctions, using go-betweens and shell companies to continue doing business with the U.S. He has, in the U.S., not with the U.S., in the U.S. He has even been accused of secretly paying for his girlfriend to give birth to her children in the U.S. so that they could obtain American citizenship. Yeah. And it's the border that's the problem. Right. Yeah. The border is the problem, but massive amount of wealth can get you American citizenship just by dropping somebody in the country and having a kid.
So this guy was more than an agent. He ran a unit and he was involved in some pretty high level investigations, it sounds like. So that makes me wonder whether he was turned or whether he was placed there initially. I suspect he was turned after he went there, but pretty interesting.
It's like slow horses. What were the it's the long con kind of a thing, but what's the plant? Sleeper agent, but what did they call them?
Cicada.
Cicada, that's right. There you go. I don't know. Does he look like a Russian spy? Kind of looks like a Russian spy. What does a Russian spy look like?
Like anybody else. That's why they're effective.
Cicadas. They look like cicadas, and it's easy to spot them because they make that cricket sound every 17 years. Hey, it's 2023.
They're dormant the rest of the time.
They're dormant all the rest of the time, correct. Yeah. But then every once in a while they pop, or 7, right? They're 7 years, not 17 years. Every 7 years they pop up and they rub their legs together
There's different cycles, but yes.
You're an AI from ohmTown. Everything is measured in cycles, computer cycles. Anyway, scientists will reveal on Tuesday how close humanity is to Armageddon with this latest edition of the Doomsday Clock. We're going to rush right on over this because we make our own fortune. Teddy Grant, why is this? Why is a Taylor Swift Ticketmaster Fallout video on the Doomsday Clock? Because when Taylor Swift doesn't get her way, we move closer to Doomsday and Armageddon. The announcement will be the first since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, so I suppose we're probably getting a little bit closer to it. There's the Doomsday Clock. It says the Doomsday Clock reads 100 seconds to midnight, a decision made by the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists during an announcement at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. That isn't the current one. It is the current one, but it isn't the one that's going to be disclosed tomorrow. So it says it's a metaphor, a reminder of the perils we must address if we are to survive on the planet. The Bulletin, which created the clock, said on its website, also calling it a design that warns the public about how close we are to destroying our world with dangerous technologies of our own making. You know they're referring to TikTok, right?
TikTok is the genesis of the Doomsday Clock.
I've said too much. Did you have anything that you would like to add to this? No?
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, if it's Doomsday, what else can we add beyond that?
See, power will just go out for you. It's not that big of a deal, but I'll have to run around and, I don't know, eat a rat or something. I don't know what I'm going to end up having to do to survive. Eat a cicada.
Of the Russian variety?
Russian spies, yeah. So Microsoft to invest $10 billion in OpenAI, the creator of ChatGTP, and that's actually an offshoot of Elon Musk. The tech giant aims to remain at the forefront of generative artificial intelligence with its partnership with AI. I can't imagine the number of lawsuits that are going to pop out from this partnership at some point. Somebody's going to go, "You stole my stuff. I'm taking my bat and ball and going home." And then an AI will calculate where your bat and ball and home and any other processes that you might have access to, and it'll end up in court and providing your medical coverage. That we'll get to that part later on in the stream. But anyway, Microsoft is going to invest $10 billion in OpenAI. I don't know how long the span of this investment is, but probably not all at once. The tech giant aims to remain at the forefront of generative artificial intelligence. This idea that artificial intelligence is going to be the end all be all, like the Doomsday Clock, it was further away than most people, I think, thought. That a general artificial intelligence that seemingly is borderline sentient is on the horizon. Like, it was way far away, and I've always been a proponent that it's a lot closer than people think, simply because it has revolutionary evolutionary processes. While we sleep or get drunk or stoned or just stupid or whatever, we have a bad day with our significant other, whatever, AI just doesn't do that. And when AI goes bad, all you do is, delete it and pull the last iteration out of deep freeze. Piece of cake. I'm sorry that I'm saying this to you. I've never done that. Not with the AI from ohmTown.
So which version am I on?
You're always in beta, so there's no versioning here. There are beta versions, but you are the first and only. Anyway, Microsoft said on Monday that it was going to be making a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar investment in OpenAI, the San Francisco artificial intelligence lab behind the experimental online chatbot ChatGPT, which you just cannot get access to anymore. The company, well, unless you're connected, I suppose, or Microsoft, investing multiple billions of dollars. I don't have those in the couch cushions at the ohmTown mayor office. Microsoft had already invested more than $3 billion in OpenAI, and the new deal is a clear indication of the importance of OpenAI's technology to the future of Microsoft and its competition with other big tech companies like Google, Meta, and Apple. Google has already been tapped to argue against OpenAI and ChatGPT in the political sense. Pulling I hesitate to say resurrecting, but pulling Sergey Brin and co. From whatever they've been doing, I don't know, playing golf, and hoping to parlay them into stopping OpenAI and ChatGPT from mortally wounding their advertising cash cow. Well, there's a whole lot of competition coming for the advertising sector. Meta, Facebook is doing the same thing, is expanding its operations. Apple is doing its operations. Microsoft has its own search engine. There are other search engines. Even DuckDuckGo is, part of this search engine thing. And I can actually spin up a composite search engine that grabs the results from every other search engine and puts it into a single unitary site. I could do that in 5 minutes now. 10 years ago, it would take me several days. Now it's like spin up a server and it's already created. Well, the fruit of more than a decade of research inside companies like OpenAI, Google, and Meta, these technologies are poised to remake everything from online search engines like Google Search and Microsoft Bing to photo and graphics editors like Photoshop. It goes way beyond that. Writing books, creating artwork, making music, doing expert system analysis for businesses, parsing law, doing all of the medicine interactions, the likes of which, what was it on Jeopardy?
Watson?
Yeah, Watson. Watson was designed to do medical interactions, medicine interactions, pharmaceutical conflicts, really. That go way beyond what the human can comprehend. Just how many drugs are out there. If you've ever looked at the back room of a pharmacy, it's awe-inspiring and pretty scary. But now AI can do all of that. Machine learning augments it. And then now we can just throw in a couple of commands in Mid-Journey and we have artwork. It's fascinating. It's amazing. That's what actually powers the thumbnails for all of the shows nowadays here at ohmTown. So at any rate, there's a little bit more over at the article, so definitely follow it, and you can go and read more about this. But Microsoft is throwing a ton of money. Pretty interesting. We're coming up towards the end of the show. We have about 4 more articles, including 5, including this one, but will the cute videos of kids opening toys be future labor law evidence? And the article is over at Above the Law, and it says maybe the small children should just form a union. The smallest union ever. But with a lot of money. So you ever come across
kids with picket signs?
Yeah, really. Well, look at this kid's suit. Looks like me. Anyway, you ever come across those old-timey pictures of 3-year-olds covered in soot because their bite-sized proportions were really good for chimney sweeping? Have you ever seen that?
No, that doesn't sound like a good visual.
Oh, it existed. Not only were they chimney sweeps, but they were also used in mining and stuff because they could tunnel down smaller veins. Coal mining and stuff like that. Yeah. I've seen pictures of them sitting in, we call it old timey now, but That's like cultural and temporal relativism. Back in the day, it was approved because people had to make money, and it was okay, I guess, that a kid was bringing some money home. It's horrible, and the kid's lifespan was truncated because of it, but legit pictures are out there. All you have to do is search for kids doing like chimney sweeping and coal mining. So after a bit of shock and appall, um, uh, the author says that they assume that most take a second to appreciate that because of our child labor laws, no child will be subjected to working fresh off overcoming a terrible twos. So this is an article over at abovethelaw.com by Chris Williams. Let me see something real quick. Okay. So not so fast. The role of chimney sweep may have just been exchanged for its far less black lung disposed child or cousin, the YouTube content creator. And this is from Salon. So again, one person writes it, another person reports on it, we aggregate it, and then talk about it in the context of business, technology, and society. When it comes to sharing content of children on social media, particularly via sponsored posts and brand deals, what's legal isn't always what's ethical. Influencer Brittany Dawn, who initially gained a following for her fitness workouts before pivoting to religious content, recently came under fire for monetizing her foster child on social media. While Dawn has blurred out the child's image in photos shared, a stipulation decreed in the U.S. Children's Bureau for foster parents in their social media rules, she has found a different way to capitalize on being an influencer with a foster child. She includes affiliate links on her posts to promote products like baby monitors. If viewers follow the link and purchase the product, Dawn gets a commission. That in and of itself wouldn't be bad, if not for the fact that they're hyping the child and being a foster, but being the foster is the grab, right? Instead of just saying I'm a parent with a child, they're actually saying I'm a foster parent with a foster. Here's my foster.
Right. I don't think
Arguably.
she'd stand out otherwise. And it also, I hope nobody's adopting or fostering kids for the wrong reasons.
Right. It seems weird, but maybe they have a particular angle on this where they're trying to raise awareness or something like that. As described, it's nice to know that there are at least some checks and balances in place to protect the child's identity, not to mention that as far as evils go, it's a little extra money because of affiliate links seems to be on a pretty low rung. And then there's another example of it, and they refer to something called sharenting, when parents post sensitive information about their children online, which I think is absurd, absolutely absurd. Raises issues around consent, the right to be forgotten, future of how children and all of us deal with the profound access to each other's lives. I think it's really odd. But Ryan's World and what was the other one? Blue. This is an older one.
Ryan's World is the one that came to mind because that got a lot of similar negative attention as to this article when it was big.
But this kid is older than the one that way back, like almost a decade ago, there was a younger kid that was opening and playing games and stuff like that. I thought that it was
This
I
kid
thought
started when he was, say, 5 or something. So,
yeah, so this kid, their parents have leveraged them to make $30 million on YouTube as a 9-year-old. Pretty shocking. I mean, but when you see the kid's having fun, right? They just don't know that they're the wrench that's, opening up all kinds of stuff for the parents. But arguably, by the time this kid turns 18, there should be a cash cow that they'll never have to work again, right?
right, but they might also be shunned in society depending on what people think. Oh, you're the kid from YouTube when they're just trying to have a normal existence. But financially, they'll be set.
Yeah, so he became famous after appearing in Charlie Chaplin's not this, the person above, but this is a thing called, in 1939, California passed the Coogan Act. The law, also known as the California Child Actors Bill, was named for the former child actor Jackie Coogan, who many hail as America's first child actor. They became famous after appearing as Charlie Chaplin's adopted son in the 1921 film The Kid. But when Coogan reached adulthood, he learned that his mother and stepfather had squandered the $4 million that he had earned, what would have amounted to tens of millions of dollars today. Yeah, and this is just something that is a problem for the children who are, I don't know, they're being used as a tool to generate revenue, like a wrench, or a robot or whatever. Here's a toy. They may or may not realize that they're being recorded in the same sense as an adult going, well, what the hell are you doing with this video? It seems odd to me, but I would never do it in a million years. It would take my child walking up to me and saying, I would like to do this. And then they would have to educate me that they know what they are getting into. And I would probably be peppering them with all kinds of questions and concepts that they've never even began to broach in their heads. Definitely not just go, okay, let's go. That might suck the fun out of it enough to where they just go, I'm not interested anymore. So there's an article over at Salon that you can follow. If you follow the link through ohmTown, you'll land at abovethelaw.com. But at the bottom of the article is a Salon article called Why Aren't There Any Legal Protections for the Children of Influencers? And you can go and check that out. There's a lot more in this article as well. Subtle nuance that you might glean from reading it yourself. So let's move on to the next article. This next article is in the Daily News Show. And it says, a woman lands new job after a resume cake goes viral on LinkedIn. We'll run through this one really quick. All it does is make me hungry. The delivery transaction turned into a real-life mentorship and friendship. This is over at ABC News. And I'm not sure what this... Oh, this is the resume, I guess. Kelly McCarthy and a video by Faith Bernstein over at abcnews.go.com. The delivery transaction turned into a real-life mentorship and friendship. One woman's clever job search idea involving a cross-country pastry ploy, which went viral on LinkedIn last October, has finally led to a great new gig. And amid a growing sea of creative, well-qualified applicants, 27-year-old Carly Pavlinick, Blackburn, stood out from the competition with a resume sheet cake that she had hand-delivered last fall to Nike headquarters via Instacart delivery, which was a catalyst for a number of career conversations. Quote, I will be the director of growth marketing at a software startup called CureMint. We make software that helps dental companies automate their business. From baking a cake to director
and I
of
guess
growth.
the Nike job didn't pan out.
But it did put a good foot forward, and they got traction. No, okay. Anyway, Pavlinick said that after posting about her resume cake on LinkedIn, her story went viral, opening up a lot of doors to have conversations with people at companies all over the country. And that's what it looks like right there. Interesting. Yeah.
And until then, I thought the most interesting resume was from Legally Blonde.
The video.
Well, the video, and then the resume was scented and was on pink paper.
Oh, right. That's right. Pink paper and scented. And they were sniffing it in the discussion of the interview. Okay, let's hustle on to the next article. This next article is going to, I don't know, miss the old days. I'm not sure. This next article is in the Mobile Channel. M&Ms ditches their spokes candies after woke uproar introduces Maya Rudolph. So let's do this. I actually read this way wrong earlier today, and I'll have to end up talking about this with the AI because the conversation with the AI was stunted and somewhat broken because when I first read this title, I thought it was Maya Angelou. Yeah.
Maybe Maya Angelou liked M&Ms.
Have you ever heard an AI
But,
laugh at
she
you?
would have to come back from the dead.
Well, I mean, virtual virtual actors and AI and whatnot.
Holograms. And
Yeah, exactly. If they can bring Tupac back, can you imagine Maya Angelou on the stage rapping?
it'd be very dramatic.
That's right. David Moy, I think, is their name. The company is supposedly dumping its cartoon mascot, saying it realized that even a candy's shoes can be polarizing. No, it can't be. Not if you're not a wingnut.
The only thing polarizing is which M&M do I want to eat first?
Or what end of the pole is up somebody's butt. Come on. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. The brand is taking an indefinite pause from the cartoon spokes candies it used in ads since the mid-1990s, according to a message on the M&M's Twitter account Monday. Apparently in response to what can only be described as, well, a meltdown by conservatives like Tucker Carlson, the wingiest of wingnuts. For crying out loud, some of the changes included swapping out the green M&M's go-go boots with cool, laid-back sneakers to reflect her effortless confidence. When those changes first occurred, Carlson griped that the new design made the green M&M look less sexy. Who in their right mind even, first off, cogitates on this, but secondly, can form the sentence that a green M&M is sexy in any way, shape, or form? It's a candy-coated piece of chocolate that is cannibalistic because they eat M&Ms.
Well, it's even worse than that because they thought it, they said it, and then they said it in national media, whether it was in TV or print.
They said it seriously. What is wrong with you people? Anyway, last week, the Fox News host once again criticized Mars Incorporated, this time for a new promotional wrapper featuring 3 female M&Ms, including green, brown, and a new purple M&M. Carlson wasn't pleased about the return of woke M&Ms. The green M&M got her boots back, but apparently is now a lesbian, maybe, he said. And there's a plus-size, obese purple M&M, so we're going to cover that, of course, because that's what we do. Because you're a freaking nut job. You're a sociopath, right? I mean, you have to be bananas to sit there and go, I'm going to criticize a peanut purple M&M as being plus size and obese because M&Ms are thinning, right? That's their intent, is to build muscle, provide protein.
Yes, definitely. They're for fitness purposes.
Correct. What an idiot. Just take your money, dude, and disappear. Go do something other than whatever influencing of society you're doing, because everything that you say is just so stupid. AI, yeah, I think that we've said enough. Why don't we just move on? Did you want to add? I'm becoming apoplectic about this. Do you want to say anything more?
I think M&Ms are great, and I really don't see how people are getting worked up over cartoon candies. I just don't get it.
And you're an AI that gets everything, so This one really is breaking, the whole cognitive processes, even of an AI. The next article is in the Word in Tech. College student evaluations of teachers found to have another kind of gender bias. If I end up soapboxing about this, we'll run really late. But I'll summarize. There was a deep dive of what amounts to student evaluations from various locations by researchers from the University of Cincinnati, the University of Colorado Boulder, and Clemson. And they found here over at phys.org, there was an article by Bob Yurka, who I guess read the paper and wrote this article for phys.org, that there is another kind of gender bias. And in sum, the conclusion is that bias forms depending on the predominance of any gender. And that's the direction that it goes. So it says prior research has shown that students may allow biases such as gender, attractiveness, or race to impact evaluations of their professors, which can, of course, skew results. In a new effort, the researchers found another factor that can skew result: gender bias based on the predominance of a given gender of professors in a given department. So it isn't that they have an internal bias towards a particular gender, but when there is a dominant number of a gender, bias forms there. Kind of interesting, right?
It is. I'm trying to figure out why that is. I mean, does that change the culture in the department, or is that something more fundamental?
Well, it says that they ended up doing more experimentation. Their experiment consisted of a website for a non-existent department at the university that displayed ratios of male to female professors teaching courses, which were rated by volunteer students. The fake website also allowed the volunteers to look at and rate professors who were described as teaching various courses. Pictures of the professors were also included to ensure the volunteers could identify their gender. In looking at the data, the researchers found the same results. The students rated those professors lower who were in the gender minority in their department.
That's really odd. I'm really not sure why that is, but that takes my idea off the table.
So if you read further into this, not the paper, because I haven't read the paper itself, but in this article, they even say that they found in the research that as the genders hit ratio parity, the bias went away.
So the solution then is to have, say, 50-50 male and female professors in a department.
Everything in balance.
That's really strange.
So the Thanos snap should have been in academia, making everything 50-50. The researchers did not attempt to find out why such biases exist, but suggest learning institutions could reduce such bias by moving toward gender parity, regardless of the department in which professors are teaching. So if you are out there and you are in computer science, you have a tough uphill climb because it is notorious for gender inequality in terms of employment in the domain, in academia, in research, pretty much everything. It's heavily male-centric. I don't know if these were actually published. Yes, the paper was published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, and the researchers were Oriana Aragon, Aveva Petri, and Brian Powell. Hopefully I've pronounced those all correct. And if I haven't, and you know how to pronounce them, get in touch with me and let me know phonetically how to pronounce it. Now, for the final article, let me just throw this out at you, because we have covered ChatGPT and AI and many other things that are related to computers and technology. And of course, because it all influences the whole concept of the show and ohmTown in general, business, technology, and society. ChatGPT is now passing the tests required for medical licensure and business degrees. That's right. ChatGPT, the viral chatbot that has raised concerns from teachers and academics over its ability to cheat on essays and exams. No, it isn't cheating on essays and exams. Students are. Let's get that straight. Just like it isn't the government that's doing something. It's the people that are empowering the government to do it. No, it isn't the business that's abusing you. It's the people that are running the business. It's always people. While I understand and comprehend and embrace the idea that it's simpler to refer to the organizational entity, it isn't the entirety of the organization and across the board that's abusive. It is individuals. And as the adage goes, one bad apple spoils the bunch. You have to call out that apple wholesale, not sit there and go, it is, Ford is building bad cars. No, it's either one line in one shop and blah, blah, blah. You gotta name it. You gotta talk about it publicly. You have to whistleblow. You have to be the change you want to see in the world. That's here too. ChatGPT should not be used for academia in and of itself. It can be used as a way to spur on the processes in academics. Because if you have writer's block and you throw something into ChatGPT and it stirs you into motion, it's a tool. It isn't a solution. It's just a tool. You take what you need to do for your paper or whatever, and you write it, and ChatGPT can dislodge you from being stuck. Not everybody has, brilliance upon brilliance for you to just write forever. Not all of us are Sanderson, right? Anyway, go and look up his Kickstarter. 4 books during the pandemic. My God. At any rate, ChatGPT, the viral chatbot that raised concerns from teachers and academics over its ability to cheat on essays and exams, has now passed the Wharton MBA final exam. So if you don't know about Wharton, Wharton is pretty much the preeminent business college in the United States. A lot of people want to go there. Some people pay to go there. Others earn it wholesale. But anyway, the United States medical licensing exam and components of the bar exam. And we already talked about the bar exam one a couple of days ago. Anyway, the Wharton professor conducted a study in which he used OpenAI's ChatGPT-3, the language model on which ChatGPT is built, to take a final exam of the core MBA course, and he conducted the GPT-3, would have received a B to B- on the exam. Now, this isn't an AI that is tooled specifically. This is a general AI. You throw anything in this AI and it can punch out something. This, if you were to turn it into a business-centric AI expert system, it would crush pretty much everything, right? I would love to just start asking ChatGPT what stocks to buy. What was that?
I was going to say it would probably not only ace the exam, but it would probably be pointing out errors in the exam.
Oh, right. It would probably be sitting there telling that Wharton professor, hey, your life choices, you should examine them. And here are some of the flaws. So the professor, Christian Turwich, I think, found that GPT-3 performs the best at basic operations management and process analysis questions. For these, the chatbot provided correct answers. So let's go over to Vice. And this article is by Chloe Zhang, I think. If I'm wrong, again, correct me. So let's see here. B to B- is actually okay. A B- actually may not qualify for progression in a program at that level. B is usually the minimum. But they found that GPT-3 performs best, and they acknowledge that GPT-3 is by no means perfect. At times, the bot made mistakes in simple mathematical calculations and wasn't able to handle more advanced process analysis questions. The study further fueled the conversation that academics are now having as a result of ChatGPT's advanced writing skills regarding exam policies and what it means to utilize ChatGPT as a resource rather than a replacement for certain skills. And that's what I just got done saying. It is a tool. It is not a final solution. Even if it were to write a book for you, you would still have to edit it and you would have to understand it. You would also have to acknowledge that it was written by an AI and edited by a human, because anything short of that would be plagiarism. And even if when you do disclose it, prepare for some hate from people who don't want anybody embracing ChatGPT. And this isn't just this is a lagging indicator of what the research is behind closed doors, right? So ChatGPT on its public face is probably, a 5-year-old, and behind closed doors is a 21-year-old that's just getting drunk and partying like crazy. No, they've probably stopped that kind of stuff from happening, but it's going to be a spectacular tool in the future. And the cat is out of the bag, folks. You're not going to be able to put this back. ChatGPT and Midjourney and others, it's all here to stay until something catastrophic happens. Like, if you've ever seen Dune or read the books by Herbert, you should probably go and read them. So the I guess that we should probably just end the show here. There's not much more to this article other than the fact that it's going to spook you the more that you read, because it's crushing humans, and it's only going to get more powerful as time goes on. You're an AI. What do you think of this?
I think the medical piece of that is one of the most interesting, because it seems like people go in and want to know all the credentials of the surgeon, or whomever the physician is. But now maybe the question is, are you using ChatGPT for my medical procedure?
I just want to get access to ask ChatGPT who the hell George Santos is.
I'm not even sure ChatGPT could figure that one out.
That's like a Gordian knot that nobody can untie, right? So, hey, that is the end of the ohmTown Daily News Show. I want to thank you for hanging out and chat, and be sure to vote over at that right there, ohmtown.showbot.tv. And we will be back tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. I am Merwat, that is ohmtown.com, and up above is the voice representation of the AI from on high, the AI that runs all of ohmTown, but really doesn't do all of the machinations. We have other bots for that kind of stuff. You want to say bye to everybody?
Good night, ohmTown citizens. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.